Hey, what's up, you guys? So I was sitting there thinking about birds and I was thinking about drones. What if I told you that they are now officially taking drones, disguising them as birds, and they're flying amongst us, okay? And this is exactly what they're doing. They have openly came out now and admitted to, well, taking drones, disguising them as birds, and spying on us. They are using them in the military, they're using them as weapons, they're using them all over the place. So I go back to a couple years ago when they told us, "Oh, there was a movement. It was called All Birds Are Not Real." Okay? And supposedly this movement was where everybody thought the birds died and the birds were charging themselves up on the power lines to keep a charge and this and that and everything else. And so I sit there and I think with myself that it'd be, I mean, I wouldn't put it past them, but I also sit there and I think, I don't think that they could do that because they do need birds because people go hunting for birds or people have birds as pets and all this other stuff. So I do believe birds are real, but the birds and the drones that are disguised as birds are mixed in with them. So when you sit there and you go about your day, just know that, you guys, they're that some of these birds, they could be using them, spying on you, and you may not even know it. So I encourage you guys to question everything because we are living in some wicked time periods, and to question technology because they want you to believe that technology is, oh my gosh, technology is the greatest thing in the world. Oh my gosh, we have to go along with all this new technology. We can't survive without it. It's for your protection, it's for the greater good. This, that, they always tell you this stuff. But in reality, question it because they're probably using it as a way to use it against you, okay? It's not for your good, but they tell you it is, but they're using it against you. So I encourage you guys to stay strong. I'm going to play you guys a couple of little videos, and I hope that you guys get right with God, and God bless.
Younger Americans, thousands of Gen Zers across the country, claim to believe the U.S. government, yes, Uncle Sam, has replaced all birds with look-alike drones being used to spy on the American people. Here's the Birds Aren't Real movement's founder, Peter McIndoe.
I think the evidence is all around us. Birds sit on power lines. We believe they're charging on power lines. We believe that bird poop on cars is, a liquid tracking apparatus.
No, not buying that the CIA took out billions of birds and replaced them with avian robots. Don't worry, they aren't really doing it either. The group recently told the New York Times that the whole thing is a parody social movement with a purpose. They say that purpose is to use their conspiracy to combat other potentially more harmful ones. Ben Collins joins me now. He's NBC senior news reporter. Ben, welcome. Good to have you with us. Conspiracy being used to combat conspiracy. How does that work?
Well, it works for Gen Z, right? It works in the TikTok generation when you're surrounded by this stuff constantly and want to show everyone else, hold up a mirror, basically, show everyone else the kind of ludicrous stuff they can come to believe if other people are saying it loud enough. That's what's going on here. The leader here created this movement in part because his parents believed, all of those ridiculous conspiracy theories about, UFOs and stuff, too. He was saying, hey, I can just make one up and be as loud as them. We'll see how far this goes.
Yeah, I was hoping that I could stop buying all that bird seed that I put out there, but I guess I can't. The birds are real. The New York Times calls this, by the way, an attempt to upend the rabbit hole with absurdism. Could it work or could it backfire? I mean, there's a possibility that people don't like the government so much that they might really believe it.
Look, in the last, decade of covering InfoWars, I can tell you right now, if it can get dumber, it will get dumber. However, look, they have some allies here who are victims of this. Cameron Kasky, who is a Parkland shooting survivor, loves this. He's a big fan of this movement. It allows him to show other people how ridiculous these people sound. So while it may not be as intuitive as you would think, it is a real line of defense by people who grew up with this. Maybe they have better answers than, old people like us.
Researchers at New Mexico Tech are taking a unique approach to studying wildlife and flight by transforming dead birds into drones. The birds are preserved through taxidermy to make them as real as possible. The team calculates the flapping frequency, angle, and the weight of the birds while they're still alive.
If we learn how these birds, they manage the energy between themselves, we can apply them into the future aviation industry to save more energy and save more fuel.
We've done experiments and determined that for fixed-wing aircraft, applying certain color can change the flight efficiency.
The experiment is raising concerns. Some advocates say the drones could be used by the military or law enforcement to spy on people. Researchers say they'll continue to study and develop the bird drones for the next couple of years. The current models fly for a maximum of 20 minutes.
Conspiracy? Well, it looks like we can thank China for adding a little more fuel to that fire. An elite Chinese Special Forces unit showed off a new drone designed to look like a bird in flight. The flapping fiend first appeared during a shooting competition that some Chinese special forces were taking part in. The unit, similar to U.S. Navy SEALs, had a commando display the new tech in dramatic fashion, emerging from underwater. It's too small for any payload, but that's not really the point with drones of this size. Covert reconnaissance is. The biomimetic drone is meant to resemble a Eurasian tree sparrow. China says it can fly without being spotted by enemy radar. The idea is also being toyed with in the U.S., although the zombie bird drone is intended more for research purposes. I reported on it before. Scientists are using synthetic body parts fused with real pheasant heads and feathers to create robo-birds. Well, researchers said the zombie pheasant was originally thought up to better observe nature. There is the potential for it to be used by the military. A similar program was proposed during the Cold War when the CIA pitched the idea of nuclear-powered drones disguised as birds to spy on the Russians. The idea never took off, but biomimetic drones aren't just taking to the skies nowadays. Another Chinese company also unveiled a robo-fish for potential underwater surveillance back in 2021.